Girl, you know how much I really need it. Girl, you know how much I need it. One day you at work and me know say you want fuck. Pretty little freak on the phone and I tell me for one.
Hey guys, it's Shonnytee and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome and thank you for clicking on this video. So if you've seen the title, you already know what this video is going to be about. Of course, I've got to talk about that brand new series that's on Netflix called Supacell. Also, I'm going to just put a disclaimer, because if you have not watched this series or you're halfway through it, don't even watch this video yet, because I'm going to end up spoiling it for you and you're going to find out things you didn't want to know. So don't even watch this video. Come back to it when you've watched it, then you can watch this video and be like, ah yeah, this is what my girl was talking about. But until then, I wouldn't even click on it because I will end up spoiling it for you. So again, I'm saying it again, disclaimer, I'm going to be talking about it. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you've already watched like the series. There was only like 6 episodes anyway. So quick recap, it's about 5 people based in London who end up realising that discovering that they've like got powers, and there's Michael, Sabrina, Rodney, Andre, I can't say his name, and Rodney, and they all end up discovering that they're getting these powers. And then Michael of course ends up going to the future and realizes that, oh yes, I need to bring all of us together so that we can defeat these people in the hoods. Bloody hell, I know it's not just me, but people in the hoods are scary, man. Until, who was it now? Oh, who was it? Was it Rodney that ran up and ripped all the hoods off so we could see who everyone was? Let's not even talk about episode. That episode was mad. But let's backtrack, and I'm going to talk about everyone individually and what I found really good about this series, like what really did it for me. First off, let's praise my man Ratman, because you did your thing. Let's just say you did your thing with this series. I really liked how you highlighted everything that we go through as black people, and it just kind of, he highlighted everything that we go through as black people, our day-to-day lives, things that you know, that we experience day to day, that kind of thing. And it was really good how he touched on that, and he did it so clever as well. So I just had to say that first. So the first person I'm going to touch on is Michael, of course, main man. So he's a delivery driver, isn't he, for one of like the delivery companies where he delivers parcels and that kind of thing. And that's just his day-to-day thing. So he's with his girl, Dion, and they've been together years. And he had been planning to pop the question, hadn't he? And eventually, of course, he ends up proposing to her and stuff. And of course, as soon as he does that, that's when things go wrong. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. As soon as he did that, that's when things just started going wrong. And even future him told him, if only you hadn't proposed, then none of this would have happened and maybe you could have saved her. And it even shows us, doesn't it, where she's died. And of course, as we know, she ended up passing away. Oh God. But yeah, it's just showing us day to day, like this man is just trying to make a living delivering parcels. He's even working extra shifts. And on the first episode, he ends up buying her that car, doesn't he, that BM. And she's like, oh my God, we can't afford it. He's like, anything for you. He goes, I know that, you know, you'd love it, you look good in it. And he said, and I'm just working extra money, we can afford it. And he just wanted the best for her. And it was just so cute just to see that man was grinding and doing extra shifts and making that extra money just so he could cater for his woman. So that was good. I liked how he showed that. And on another side, you saw how he was trying to work extra hours also, because his mom, which I really liked how Ratman covered this, about how his mom ended up having she has sickle cell, doesn't she? And it kind of showed, you know, when you're going through a crisis, how that went down. And it was quite distressing to watch. Of course, I know that can happen to us as black people, and it can affect other people, of course, but it affects us more as being black. And of course, if you're blessed to not even have it in your family, thank God, because it's not something you want. And of course, it can affect like many black people, which is why I thought it was really important that he did bring that up in the series, and the way it flowed so naturally in the series as well. I think he really captured what it's about when black people do go through this. But it was really distressing to see that Michael's mom was going through that crisis when she called him and she was like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain. She couldn't even talk, bless her. And about how he's working at them extra hours and trying to make that extra money for his mom, just so his mom can go to the treatment center so she can get the treatment she needs to keep it under control. But let's talk about how the plot twist was that the woman that run that treatment center is the woman that's behind the hooded thing. And I had a feeling, right, I guess my mind's just too far ahead, because I had a feeling that she was bad business, that she was, yeah, she weren't good. I just had a feeling. It was just like, oh, hi, man. I had a feeling that she was behind it. So yeah, that didn't even surprise me when she ended up showing her face and it was her. I was like, yeah, I knew it was you, because you're too bad. You're too bad. And I'm too quick to be going ahead. Why didn't I just let it happen? But no, I was like, I'm sure she's going to come back at some point and we're going to find out she's up to no good. And I was right. But yeah, I did think that was really important to highlight what it's like and having a crisis like. So I thought they did really well, like showing that. The next one we're going to talk about is Sabrina. So again, you could tell she's one of those really kind-hearted people. And even her sister Charlene, she was like, oh my God, why are you going in? Or, you know, you should give yourself some time to rest. She's like, why are you going in early? You don't start well this time. And then she was like, my patients need me. And that just showed what kind of person she was. And she, you know, she loved the patient, the patients loved her. And it was just kind of sad, like, when all this stuff started happening, when she started discovering her powers, how, you know, how it really affected her and stuff. And of course, the guy she was seeing stood her up, and she was so excited to get dressed up and meet him and stuff. And then for him to just stand her up, of course, that brought the anger out, and ended up licking him against that wall. I remember thinking, it serves you right, because you shouldn't have done what you did. But it was a bit like, oh shit. I remember, I don't know if it was just me, but I remember staring at the TV when that happened and she flung him against that wall. I remember going, boxside. That's all I could say, and I just kept saying it. Even my mum was like, I heard you outside your room saying boxside like 50,000 times, because I was like, shit. But I really loved how when she ended up getting called in for a meeting, I think she was ready to have lost her job. But then when they were like, oh yeah, we're going to, what's it called now? What am I trying to say? Progress her basically and give her a more advanced title. I thought that was so good. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. Oh God, it's really going to annoy me. But the progressing, and I thought that was really nice, because that's just what she needed. Once she got that lift, she started to feel better again. So I was really happy about that. And of course, she's got her sister, and her sister, of course, the thing is, the stress was too much for Sabrina, because at the same time, as well as her doing her job and whatever, she was her sister, and obviously Charlene's her younger sister. So she sees it as her job and her responsibility. And that's any older sibling. You feel like it's your responsibility to look after your younger sibling, because that's just what we do. We're like second moms. But at the same time, you could kind of see that Charlene was the younger sibling, because her ears were too hard. She couldn't listen. She had to feel. Do you know what I mean? She couldn't listen to what her sister was trying to tell her. But it kind of highlighted about how hard it is to, when you are in a toxic relationship, how hard it is to get out of it. And she weren't even in a relationship with the guy, you know, crazy. And she weren't even in a relationship with him, but it just showed how, you know, connected she was to him and how tied she was to him, and it was hard for her to let him go. And even when she was going to, and her sister telling her all the stuff in her ear about, you deserve better, she's like, I know, and then all I did was show up with gifts and this and that, and then she was all of a sudden, it's like she forgot, because it's like, oh okay, the good times really outweigh the bad. But no, and it was just really sad. But it was even when at one point when he choked her, and I remember thinking, flipping hell, I'm like, girl, this is your chance, like, you need to leave. This is clearly showing you he doesn't love you or like you, do you know what I mean? Like, he's treating you like shit. But yeah, it was really sad. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Taser. Now I thought this was really interesting, because he showed the life on the streets of London and what it really is, and you could see that he wanted to be a good boy, Taser, when he was living with his grandma. But then it was like, when he was out on the streets, he kind of had to be that person to look after himself, because there was no one else out there on the streets to protect him, do you know what I mean? So he had to literally fend for himself. Of course he had his gang and he had his crew, but he had to kind of fend for himself. And you could see inside he didn't really want to have this hard shell and exterior. He wanted to be chill, but he always had to be on guard, because that's just what it is when you're living on the streets, do you know what I mean? And I thought it was really important when he showed about how they all got arrested and stuff. Okay, they had stuff in the car, but it was the fact that it was really important to show that side of how black people, when we're just in a car, we could really be doing nothing, and or even just black people just sat doing nothing. And then I've definitely experienced it where I've been sat in a car once with obviously like a friend that's black, and police officers have like gone past and they've kind of looked at us like we were sus, like we were doing something, and we honestly wasn't doing anything. We was just sat there. And I remember they stopped outside my car and I had to wind my window down. They were like, what are you guys doing? And we were like, we're just sat here. Like, it's a bit late, isn't it, to be sat in your car? Don't you want to go inside or go home? Clearly not, because if I wanted to go in my house or go home or whatever, we wouldn't be sat here. And they were like, well, what are you doing? And we were like, nothing. And they were like, right, okay then. And it's like, why are you asking? They were like, oh no, we're just... It says, no worry, don't worry, because we're just asking. We were a woman and a man. We're like, we're just asking, we're just doing our tours of the neighbourhood. And we went, right, okay. And they went up the windows and went, and we were just like, what the hell? Because I'm not being funny, I'm not trying to pull the race card here, but I've experienced this before with police officers, so I will say my piece. And you know, if you're not happy about it, obviously, just, you don't agree with it, but I'm going to say how I feel. I've definitely experienced that more than once, where I felt like I'd only been approached like that because of the colour of my skin. So it was really interesting for him to show that part, and about how they were really like aggressive with them as well, and you know, there was no need for it. Of course they ended up finding things in the car and stuff, and that was a bit shit, but the point is, it was good for him to show like what black people have gone through, probably still continue to go through, when they end up having to be involved with the police kind of thing. So I thought it was good that he showed that. It was when my man was like, do you know what, you carry on messing with me. What were he called now? I forgot his name. Diggity. I forgot his character's name. But he was like, do you know what, you're messing with the wrong person. Man, juck up everybody. Everyone was just sliced. I had to watch it again because I just thought the way man just would... Everyone was just gone in like a second. I was just like, why? And like I said, you can tell that deep inside, he's this young boy that doesn't want to be doing this, but he has to. He has no choice. And as soon as he sees that they did something to his grandma, of course she should be taken to hospital. Man said, absolutely not. Like, you took the piss now. Like, you're messing with my grandma. Do you know what I mean? And it's really sad that he thought his mum had walked out on him. And it turned out that obviously the hooded people, the bad people, had ended up abducting her, hadn't they, because she had a power. And then killed her when she tried to escape. And isn't that crazy that that was his mom that was trying to escape? Madness. But, and they ended up just killing her. And he's thinking his mom deserted him, when in the end, she was trying to come back. And she wanted to come back, and this whole time she'd been killed. It's just really, really sad. Now the next one is Andre. So we're going to talk about him and about how this one was quite important, because of course it highlighted, you start to find out that he's had a bit of a rough life. He ended up going to prison for something that wasn't his fault. Of course, we've heard this numerous amount of times, like it's not new, and it's just sad. And of course there's this unspoken rule about how you don't snitch, so man didn't snitch and just served his time even though he didn't do anything, and ended up missing out on time with his son, of course. And then the mother of his son, she just don't want nothing, innit? Man's not making money because he can't, because of course when you do have a criminal record, it's not easy to get a job because you have a criminal record, and who wants to hire an ex-con, as they call it? So why would you want to hire someone? And even when he had that interview, he was dead honest with that black man, and I honestly thought he'd hire him because he was so honest, but he didn't want to, just because of the situation. And then of course he ends up realising that he's got super strength, and then he was vexed, weren't he, and ended up breaking that machine, and he got all that money. And it's kind of sad because all he wants to do is provide for his son. And it was heartbreaking when the what they called now, oh my god, debt collectors, I forgot the name that I'm trying to say, it's gonna pee me off now, but they ended up coming to the house and trying to take everything from the house and tried taking his phone. Thank God he had the cash in that box when he did, because he just gave them the cash and then they left in it, so he got to keep his phone. And it's almost like he's trying to protect his son as well from like brags and stuff. And it was nice to see that he was trying to do it, but then because he fell asleep, it was sad as well, because his son thought he didn't care and that he was ignoring him, but in actual fact he fell asleep. So then his son ended up messing about with him. It was just crazy stuff. And finally, we're going to talk about Rodney. So when I say finally, I'm on about the 5 main people that are involved in this, like the 5 people. So obviously Rodney is a Cockney lad, and at first I didn't know how to take to him. I was a bit like, oh God, like he's actually going to get on my nerves. But then as we dove deeper into it, it was really sad, because it showed you him going back home, didn't it, to his mom. And it ends up being that he ended up having to grow up in a hostel, because his mom, obviously, if you know that Rodney's mixed race, so his mom was white, obviously she was with a black man, and the mom married a white man, and because he's racist, he didn't like him and didn't want him around. So instead of her choosing her own son, she chose him. So then Rodney ended up having to move out and live in a hostel, which is so heartbreaking. And he even goes back and says, Mom, can't I just stay here for a bit? She's like, no. She goes, he'll be back soon. And I'm thinking, wow, like you really chose him over your son. It's heartbreaking, and it just makes you think, that's why Rodney is where he is now, selling drugs and trying to make ends meet, because he's got to survive. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously he had his friend Spud as well that he was living with, and of course trying to make ends meet and stuff. It was just really heartbreaking that he ended up in that situation just because his mom chose her racist partner over her own son. But then it was really sad is that she ended up, I think, having kids with him, but because they were white, he loved them, but then of course didn't love him because he was mixed race and had a bit of black in him. So because of that, or colour in him, so because of that, he didn't treat them the same. I thought it was heartbreaking, but it was really nice that he captured that rather than showed how, this is why he's ended up where he is. And it just shows that you never know what people have gone through in their life to end up where they are. It's like when people are living on the streets, which basically, I'm not saying he was living on the streets, but he was fighting day to day, trying to make money, trying to sell them drugs, and he seemed desperate. And because he was like, my mum was really trying to sell his money, trying to sell to make money, because he was struggling. And you think to yourself, how did he get there? And it's because of that, or because his mom chose the partner over him and couldn't just walk off because she wanted a nice house and a nice this and that. I just think it's really sad that she just chose him over the son, over Rodney. I just think it's crazy. I could never do that, but obviously we don't know the full situation, but still heartbreaking. It was quite entertaining as well, seeing that he was quite happy that he realised he had that superpower as well, that he could run really fast. Imagine that, you wouldn't have to ever rely on public transport. And finally, we're going to talk about 2 funny characters that had me cracking up. So firstly, we're going to talk about Tuesday, because oh my god, I'm sure we all know what bit I'm going to say, because it's just monumental. I just can't cope. Like, he was just so unserious the whole series. Like, he did not care. He said what was on his mind and then didn't reflect on what he said afterwards. And Taser just be like, yo, man's doing a song about slicing man up and you're there laughing about it. Tuesday was just so innocently chill and nonchalant that he used to piss you off, but he was just funny. So of course I'm gonna have to say the famous thing that he's known for. Man's on the up block, but I can't see no ops. Tell them 6 of pussies were outside. I swear I am obsessed with that since he said it. Oh my god, it was just so random, so random. But yeah, I was cracking up at him. He cracked me up. He was one of them, what do you call it, backup, like, you know what I mean? I can't, not one of the main, but one of the backup ones that was funny. Do you know what I mean? Sideline character, one that you're not gonna forget because of how funny he was. Not even that it was funny, but I just had to mention him. Crazy. My guy was mad. Oh my god. And what the hell was Charlene thinking? She could do so much better. I know he was flashing at the money, but nah man, what was she thinking? He was crazy. And then at the end, when it ended up being that he was involved in all of that, I thought, box sad, because I weren't expecting that. And then thank god Michael saw into the future, because he was about to stab every man up. Boy, crazy was still a madman. Thank god Michael could see into the future and figured it out that he was going to stab every man up, because I could tell that he wasn't being legit, saying that he had the device in his back pocket. I was like, you're chatting the most. And people were too gullible, man. But thank God he was able to be like, no guys, like, he's chatting, and just stab man up quickly. Finally, I had to save the best till last. Castillo, oh my God, when I saw him come on screen, I was creasing. He was giving the lyrics, saying the lyrics, this, that. And even though it was funny seeing his character, the storyline behind it was very serious, because especially, I'm not saying it's just black women, it's any woman. You dress up nice, and men, some men, not all men, before everyone starts coming for me about how, you know, we dress up nice, and you see that as your excuse to think you can touch us, or that because, okay, you kissed or whatever, you think that's your excuse to be able to have access to us and touch us however you want. Like the way he's trying to basically, I know YouTube's funny, so I'm going to say essay. Man was trying to essay her because he thought he was entitled to it, just because she was trying to give the impression that she thought he was good looking. But then she was like, listen, okay, we're flirting, we're having fun, but that's not going further. And she was like, seriously, do you really think just because I was doing this, you think you get to me outside on the street, outside in the back of the club? Obviously, if it weren't for her sister Sabrina, thank God, like, something serious could have happened, you know what I mean? And obviously we know what Castillo's like, so it was just mad how man died for Nyash, just because he wanted what he wanted and ended up dying for it. Seeing so many people commenting on TikTok about it, and I just thought it was just so ironic how that ended up happening to his character, so that was quite funny still. But yeah, overall, right man, you did your thing with this series. Honestly, it was amazing. And can you just hurry up with season 2 already? Because I's ready. Netflix best make sure the ratings are good, and everyone best make sure that they respond with the ratings with a thumbs up, because man did his thing, and I need another season for real. But yeah, that's my end of my video, end of me doing my review on Supacell and what I thought, my opinions. Please make sure you comment in the comment section about what you thought, what made you laugh, what were your highlighted moments in there that stuck out for you. But if you really enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Make sure to turn your post notifications to all so you can be notified every single time you get a post a new video. And like I said, make sure to be commenting in that section and let me know what worked for you, what you thought was good, what you thought Ratman made sure was good and was mentioned, because there was a lot of topics that were mentioned that I thought he highlighted really well. But yeah, if I've missed anything out, or there's certain parts that were funny that I didn't mention, make sure to mention them in comments as well. But yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Like I said, this one might come out before my vlog, because that's taking a lot longer to edit than I thought, and this was just easier, and it would be a quick 10-minute thing. And also I've just recently watched it and I've got so many thoughts in my head, I'm like, I need to post this video. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video guys. Bye.